Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the video. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Orion plugin by Jaycen Joshua and Cradle Audio. This plugin was designed to replace all of the drum bus processing that Jaycen Joshua uses on his own drums within his own mixes. For those of you who have been following Jaycen, you know that he uses a ton of different plugins on his drum bus. So this Orion plugin is meant to make it a little bit more easy and workflow friendly to achieve that sound. So what we're going to do is check out the plugin, look at all of the different parameters that you can tweak, and then test it out on some drums. So let's hop right in and get to it. All right, so right off the bat, you can see that the Orion is definitely mimicking the God particle as far as the visuals go. Over here on the left side of the plugin, you have the input gain knob. And the way this works is they recommend that you have your drums hitting right here in the sweet spot that's represented by the green area. So if you were hitting below this area, what you would do is just bring up your input gain knob. And then vice versa, if you were hitting above the sweet spot, you would just bring the input gain knob down. Next up, you have the color section. So you have 3 different colors to choose from, A, B, and C. And this is meant to replace the 8 NLS bus plugins that he would load in sequence. And this would essentially add weight and dimension to the drums. And then you also have the high pass filter. So when he would load the 8 NLS bus plugins in a row, it would add a lot of low end to the drums. So he would also have a high pass in that chain to kind of dial those low end frequencies back a little bit. Next up, you have the harmonics section. So he would use R-Bass by Waves Audio to generate and blend in these harmonics with the drums. So you have 50 hertz and 80 hertz. This is what's going to be used to generate these harmonics higher up in the frequency spectrum. So any harmonics that are created are going to be created from either 50 or 80. And the harmonics knob itself, you can see, is a wet dry knob. So you can dial in the exact amount of harmonics that you want to blend in. Next up, you have the compression module. So he would use the Shadow Hills mastering compressor to add in just a subtle amount of drum bus compression. But what the Shadow Hills was most famously known for is like those 3 different harmonic settings. You had the nickel, the steel, and the iron. So here on this plugin, he has 2 different modes, and I'm just assuming that's kind of what it's kind of modeling after. But the compression knob itself is also a wet dry knob, so you can dial in that parallel compression. Next up, you have the lift knob right here, and I think this is modeling the black box saturation that he would have on his drum bus. Next up, you have the harmonic EQ section, and you have 5 different spots to boost at. You have 40 hertz, 100, 1K, 3K, and 10K. And the fact that this is labeled harmonic EQ and not just EQ makes me think this is doing what Spectre does by Waves Factory. So essentially when you boost, you're not only boosting the frequencies that are already present in the signal, but you're also blending in some harmonics at those frequency areas as well. And then the last section is the parallels. So for those of you who have watched his breakdowns, he uses a lot of aux traxes to kind of blend in stuff in parallel. So he has a sub fader right here. He has a low fader. He has a loud fader, which I think is going to be like some parallel compression. And then lastly, he has the grit fader. In his template, he actually has 2 auxes labeled Transformer 1 and Transformer 2. One of those transformers is actually modeling the sound that FL Studio adds to the drums. So you're going to get all that with this grit fader right here. So that's pretty much it for the plugin. Let's go ahead and see how this thing sounds on some drums. Okay, so as you probably heard, when you drive this plugin, you can really add some character to your drums, but things do get louder, so you do want to utilize the output gain knob right here. With all of the different parameters that are available on this plugin, you can really take your drums in any direction that you like. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive, you can do that. If you want your drums to be more subtle, you can dial things back. But me just knowing all of the plugins that he uses on his drum bus, I can really see how they're modeling this plugin after all of those different processors. So these were hip hop drums. Let's go ahead and see how this plugin sounds on an actual live drum kit. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the plugin demo. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next video.